All right, so here's the basics on Booleans. It's spelled B-O-O-L-E-A-N. It's all lowercase. Notice how the word Boolean turns red. So it's turning red because it's a reserved keyword. It's recognized. I'll just name my Boolean A. And Booleans can only be initialized to one of two things. Okay, you can initialize a Boolean to true, or if I want to go ahead and initialize another Boolean, I'll call it B. I could initialize it to false. And that's it. It can't be anything else. Okay? So a Boolean can either be true or false. And you'll notice how the words true and false turn blue because, again, those are recognized. So BlueJ is recognizing those words, and it's giving us that different color to let us know. Just like before, you can declare a Boolean on one line of code and initialize it on another. All right, so nothing's wrong with that. C equals true. What you can't do, and I see students try to do things like this, I can't say something like Boolean D equals true. I've just tried to take a string and put it in for a Boolean. That's not allowed, okay? I see students write code like that, and I can see why. Because, you see those letters there, T-R-U-E, and you think it's a string, but it's not. It's a special reserved keyword, and in this setting, it just means that that Boolean variable is true. Okay? It can only be true or false. It's not a string, however. It can't be treated as a string. You can't do like a substring on it or a length method or anything like that. All right? So it's a special type of primitive variable. So far we have ints, doubles, and booleans. Those are our primitives. Strings are technically not primitive variables. All right, so there's other ways to initialize booleans. Here's another one that we could try. I could do something like this. I could say Boolean E equals 2 is greater than 3. Now, I know 2 is not greater than 3, and it's like I'm literally asking the question, is color scheme. All right, is 2 greater than 3? It's like I'm asking the computer a question. Is 2 greater than 3? Now, if the answer is no, like in this case, then false is assigned to E. Okay, so E is initialized, like it's given its initial value of 3. I'm sorry, no, of false. Okay, so E is initialized to false. So if I were to turn around and print E, all right, it will actually print the letters F-A-L-S-E on the screen. Okay, it's just going to print just like exactly when we put it in for that variable. Okay, so it actually prints false on the screen. All right, because that's what it was initialized to. Any questions there? So, all right, pretty basic. I could use any of those operators that I saw earlier. So I could say Boolean F is 10 is not equal to 10.1. Now I know that looks confusing, I bet, but remember that's the assignment operator. It's going to take whatever's on the right of it and assign it to whatever's on the left. So on the right, what that is, what I have highlighted, that's a Boolean condition. It's like I'm making the statement 10 is not equal to 10.1. If I make that statement, am I lying or am I telling the truth? I'm telling the truth. Okay? So therefore F is initialized with true. That's how this works. Okay? So when you give a Boolean condition, it's just like asking, are you lying? Are you saying something false? Or are you telling the truth? You're saying something true. So earlier I said 2 is greater than 3. That was false. So false initialized E. If I say 10 is not equal to 10.1, that's true. So f would be initialized as true. All right? Now, remember earlier I showed you that exclamation point. So how does that work? If I say system out print and I say print not E, remember earlier E was initialized to false. Now it would print true on the screen. It would print the opposite. That's not like, increment, that's not like an increment or a decrement operator though. So it doesn't actually change the value of E. So if we went back and just printed E, it would revert back to false. So it's not like an increment or a decrement operator that like permanently adds 1 to a variable. In this case, it just changes it for that instant, but it stays with its original value. And then like another weird thing you could do here with an exclamation point is if you put in 2 exclamation points like this, okay? If I put in 2 exclamation points, that's like saying not false, which is the same as false. It's kind of like multiplying by -1 twice. It just cancels itself out. So you've probably heard in English class like a double negative. It's similar to something like that. All right. So let's see if all these prints are. I'm saying we should have false, true, false, false. Let's just verify that's what's happening. Okay. False, true, false, false. Okay. All right. So there's some of the basics.